Behold, trapped in a hellscape of their own invention, socially unaware old white men bound by the pretense of being fake lawyers yet knowing no law, no exquisite Latin terminology, they are inexplicably compelled to quibble over minutia, squabble over triflings, and bicker like those who value their backyards far too highly without even knowing the difference between an easement and an alleyway. At this very moment, you have entered the heart of the Law Offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker. Let's get started.
Welcome to another edition of the Law Offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker with your hosts, Brendan, Greg, and Matt. And we are having an exciting guest today. His name is Jason Pollock. You can tell already he's fully excited to be here. And he is a comedian and a podcast host from back in, I believe, in New Jersey. And we'll be discussing some of his issues for today. Also, our client later on, everybody, our fake client, is Henry Ford is no Tom Edison, and Elon Musk is a punk. But before we get started, Brendan has found another fake sponsor for us, everybody. So, Brendan, if you'd like to let us know what this is, I can't wait.
Sure. So today, the Law Offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker are proudly sponsored by Huzzah. Are you looking for a late afternoon pick-me-up right after a long ride on your unicycle? Look no further than Huzzah. This artisan-crafted vitality drink brewed and bottled by local Portland cosplay alchemists for your imbibing delight. This is not one of those overly aggro, alt-energy swills designed for alpha skateboard, race car, bungee jumping go-getters with more testosterone than prudence would dictate. No, Huzzah provides all the vigor and verve your steampunk, role-playing, rubber stamp crafter would fancy. Handlebar mustache? Check. Pocket watch? Check. Top hat with goggles and a flair for the dramatic? Triple check. Stop pining for proper liquid resuscitation. Huzzah! One sip, and you'll say excelsior.
Where the hell did that one come from?
I would say Mad Libs.
I think that's where it did come from, right?
No, Greg said, do you have another sponsor? And I said, yes, I do. You have any suggestions? And he said, Huzzah. And I said, okay, I'll roll with that.
Oh, I thought you were rolling with the translator, but okay, this is fine.
The translator. Oh no, that may be a later sponsor. That one didn't click as fast as Huzzah did.
Okay. Well, Huzzah, welcome to our show. All right. So let's get right into Jason. So Jason, you've been a comedian for about, 15, 16 years now, or?
Yeah, longer than that, since 98 or 99, which is, it's scary to think how behind I am on a career in it, because I'm just such a lazy writer.
So 25 years, you're still writing your first joke, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm still doing jokes from the beginning. Yeah, it's terrible. That's why I ran a club for a little bit, because I had such bad stage fright. I figured it's safer on the back end. Even though I hate the business end, it was just an easy foot in the door. Easy way to learn. And I'm totally neurotic, but once I'm on stage, it all goes away. I'm comfortable. I'm in another awkward place.
So is your style of comedy similar to like Richard Lewis in terms of neuroses coming out on stage, or?
Yeah. I when I auditioned for America's Got Talent, it said, "What makes you different and unique as a comedian?" And I said I can't just put neurotic Jew, because that's basically
that's all
90% of the stand-up comedy world. Yes.
So I came up with a magic trick to do. I said, neurotic Jew who does magic. So I had an 8-foot straw. I had a bag that I said, this bag makes ordinary things like a straw look bigger. And my wife loves this bag. So I threw the straw in, and I pulled out the 8-foot straw. And don't mind the hand gesture. But
totally fine with
a long straw.
We've seen that hand gesture many times.
Needless to say, I didn't make America's Got Talent with that, even though there's been worse. Oh my God, it's to my defense, I phoned in that audition because when I went to try out, I was surrounded by hundreds and hundreds of kids singing "Let It Go" from Frozen. I said, I don't want to be part of this. I couldn't deal with that.
That's what you should have done.
My
Sure,
own
you shouldn't.
version of "Let It Go."
That's
Just
right.
got out there and started
America's
belting out
Got
Like
Let It
Talent.
as you're
Go.
pulling out the 8-foot straw, singing that song.
Let it go, let it go. It's a great visual. I'm
my
sure they
God,
would have loved it.
I've never seen that. I've never seen that song done with this gesture ever in my entire life. Until that's the second. I heard a commercial for Huzzah that doesn't exist. You also provided me with a visual for "Let It Go" that I'll never be able to erase from my mind.
We're all about providing people with moments they can take
why
back
I'm
to
here.
their mother.
That's right.
It fits because you gotta let it go sometimes. You just gotta let that shit go. And that's the best way to deal with it. 'Cause I don't have a
Sometimes
girlfriend.
against the wall.
Well,
Yes.
that way you don't want to let it go until you're done. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless you're into like tantric stuff, and then it's a whole different issue.
I've
Like
never
Sting.
actually experienced the tantric stuff.
Well, just
I've
think of it
watched
all
real
the
sex,
times
that's as
that
close as I
before
get.
you ever learned what happened at the end as a child, that's tantric stuff. Before you finally went, oh, that's what happens when I, touch myself far too much.
Suddenly, Matt made the show like PG-13 somehow.
Is this a? Oh, you got to excuse me. I'm not even joking about this. I developed some kind of nervous tick with my face in like August or September of last year that I've been working on. So if you see me doing this weirdness, it's like some kind of neuroses, just to add to my already crazy brain that works the way it does.
Well, you don't feel too bad because if you watch Greg closely, he has a really interesting nervous tick as well, where he purses his lips like pretty regularly. It's a fascinating thing.
And I inhale a
He does-
stick
he does
of
like this.
tobacco.
No, this is without tobacco, Greg. You do it
Just-
a lot.
Yeah, I do,
it's
I guess.
it's a fascinating thing to me. I stopped commenting on it probably about a year ago, but I still
Thank
notice
you.
it.
Thank you, Matt. That's very nice of you to not comment on my thing.
Are you
That's
sure
rare.
you're not a Jewish mother? Because that's who points these things out more frequently.
Yeah, I was
It's a good-
raised. I
a
was
good
raised
friend-
by a
good
Jewish
friend to do.
mother, so
Okay, you. Are you mishpucha? It's family, Hebrew for family.
Ah, yes.
Are you
No,
Jewish?
see, I come from the other side of comedy, which is the angry, drunk Irish guys. That's the,
Oh, the Bill Burrs of the world.
the Bill Burrs and those crowd.
yeah.
One
I met him
100%.
once. Bill Burr gave me a great line. He didn't give me a line. He just my friend introduced me to him at the Comedy Cellar. He said, "Bill, this is a good friend of mine, Jason Pollock. He's a booker. He's a comedian." As Bill's shaking my hand, he said, "Joe has a habit of introducing me to people I don't want to meet." I just love that.
It's such a true thing for most people who introduce us, though.
Yes, indeed.
It's like I don't know if I want to talk to this person at all. I have to? Is this part of the rules? Hey, what's the do you have a website, Jason?
I'm the worst self-promoter. I do so much. I use my Facebook, my Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Even though I refuse to ever lip sync or dance on TikTok. I can't do it. I'm sorry.
Well, if you want, you can do it here. If you've been saving it
Yeah.
up, you can
It's
lip sync
safe.
and dance today, and we'll let
Oh.
you do that.
I like what
Were you doing like the
what
robot
Brennan's
just now? Was
doing.
that
I don't know. Or maybe the Marcel was, like I'm doing a
Marcel
mime
Marcel.
thing.
for a second?
Yeah,
They
the-
said Marcel Musso, and like Bullwinkle became a mime.
Bullwinkle the Moose. Marcel Moose.
Marcel
It's
Musso.
Bullwinkle's brother.
So are you guys all comedians?
No,
No,
we're not.
no.
We're not funny at all.
I thought it was self-evident.
You've made me laugh, and he's very creative with coming up with a commercial for Huzzah.
Oh
Which
yeah,
I've never
Brendan
heard
is
before.
amazing. You should have heard last week's. It was fantastic.
This is a new thing, though.
I'm a copywriter. I'm an advertising and marketing person. So that's when
that
you go
explains your
when you're a
creative
chicken
stuff.
shit of making it as a comic, you go, well, I'll just go into marketing and copywriting and ads and stuff.
Yeah, I'm
For
a
the past
very
year, though, he's been hiding his light under a bushel, though. We didn't know.
yeah. We had no
That's
idea
great
how
commercials.
creative he actually was until last
Yeah.
week, and it was like, whoa,
we just
where'd
thought
that
he was a
come from?
moron from Florida.
That's true too, but
And I'm a failed stand-up comic from about 2002, something like that. I did open mics for a couple of years, and I think after I was nearly punched by guys from the Royal British Army for a joke I told right after 9/11, I was like, maybe I should just rethink this.
Oh my God.
Why did they try to punch you?
Oh, because I told it wasn't really even a funny joke. Not that I had
Apparently.
money anyway, but it was a few months after 9/11, and I did this joke that there's one positive thing about suicide bombers. I'm like, but only one. And people are like, what's that? I'm like, one less suicide bomber. And so, not really
Too
that.
That's not
soon.
offensive. That's not offensive.
Too
It's
soon.
true.
Not really that funny, and a little soon. But these guys were from Great Britain, and so for them, it hit really close to home when talking about people involved in, say, the IRA, where they would threaten to kill your family if you didn't strap a bomb to yourself. Like, so some people were suicide bombers without personally wanting to die. And that's where it became this visceral thing for those guys. And so the one guy was basically restraining his friend from coming after me because he had a feeling that, I didn't look at it that way because I'm American. What do we care about the IRA, really? Go by. I mean, Brendan, you might care a little bit since you have Irish heritage, but me, I just don't give a crap. So that being the case, I'm like, no, I didn't go into this deliberately trying to offend you in any way. I wasn't even thinking about the Irish when I was thinking about suicide bombers, because who does? Who
You
thinks
can't
about
really
the
explain
Irish?
that to him at that point. Yeah, I didn't. The Irish did not come to mind.
Yeah, especially
I don't
shortly
think
after 9/11.
I don't think the Irish have had suicide bombers since like maybe the 60s or 70s. I don't think they've been really doing a lot of that recently.
I don't know, but I just know that these guys have their own issue, and one of them wanted to take it up with me, and I'm like, wasn't.
You
my
reminded me.
intention.
I offended Denise Nickerson. I don't know if who know who she is, but she was.
I think I went to school with her in like the 80s.
No, she's older than that.
Oh,
She,
okay.
Denise Nickerson, no.
Nickerson played Violet Beauregard in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I could tell you, we were at a bar. She happened to be at the same bar as me in North Jersey. We both had mutual friends there.
Was she
I
still
said, you gotta
purple?
meet her. She slimmed down. I guess they
That's
let
good.
some of the juice out.
Oh, that's good.
Greg, you just made that thing with your face. I saw it. I just saw it just then.
Okay,
Anyway,
I,
sorry.
don't talk
wasn't
about it.
noticing. I didn't look. I
Don't
can't make
interrupt
fun
the
of Greg
show.
because I do a constipated look. So, Greg, I'm right there with you.
I want to hear about Violet Augusta Gloop, whatever.
Violet
Violet
Beauregard. He
Beauregard.
didn't even bring up Gloop.
Gloop was not part of the
You
equation.
know, we got into a debate about comedy, and they were talking about it. What's offensive? What's not? Like, before I go into this any further, how offensive can you get here? I mean,
You can be fucking offensive as
Very
a fucking
offensive.
I'm
goddamn
the
motherfucking
leading offensive
you
one. I generally trigger them sometimes, but
all right.
you'd have to go real far.
You can be child rapingly offensive on our show.
Oh my God.
want.
I wasn't going to go that far. But
Greg, do
I
we have to
told her-
call the cops on you again?
all right. I said to her,
He's on a list.
we were talking about how you should be able to joke about anything. And I said, well, when I was watching Schindler's List, they told me I was going to need tissues, and I saw no reason to masturbate. And
I saw that coming. It's sad that I saw that coming, but yeah.
That's a good one, though. That's
Thank you.
fantastic.
That reminds me like something Saget would say. That'd be like a Saget joke.
oh wow, wow! You compared me to Bob Saget. That's an honor.
I at least compared you to one of his jokes.
I thought it was more like
That's
Emo
true.
Phillips.
Emo Phillips.
Just kidding.
Told me not to. I couldn't even say the joke right in Emo's voice.
So Violet took exception
she
to
took
this.
offense. She calls this guy over. She says, "Excuse me." This guy who's like a 6'8" monster, jet black hair, Native American. She said he's making jokes about mass murder, and I was like, "What? It's not what you think." And he just leaned all the way down. He said, "There's nothing funny about mass murder," and starts talking about what happened to his people. And
Oh boy.
she started going off on me. People want to hear about your mother-in-law. People want to hear jokes they can relate with. And I just thought, I can't deal with this right now. So we started going back and forth, and it started getting heated. And I stood up and said, why don't you go chew some gum, Violet? And everybody shut up. I shook her hand. Really nice meeting you, and walked away. So that was my story about Violet Beauregard. But you remind me of that when you said that British royal people wanted to beat you up.
What a good comeback.
Yeah, exactly.
I felt so vindicated saying that. It was a rush.
If only you could have said, did you get another job after that role, Violet? Is that your claim to fame, that you could like give me crap about my particular career or what I choose to do when all you did to get famous was turn into a giant blueberry? And
right?
Still no one knows you.
At
the very least, Charlie became a veterinarian. What have you done?
That's right, he did.
Violet did some porn after that actress. I saw some 70s porno she was in. They're pretty hot.
Did you, Craig?
What?
He's
from
so
the 70s.
He was in Dark Shadows, I know that.
She's in Dark Shadows, huh?
What would be the porn title for Dark Shadows? Brendan.
No Dark Shadows.
It was a TV show that was like following a vampire type family or something.
Okay,
like
that makes sense.
It was a soap opera, though. It was on every day like a soap opera.
Yeah, it was like a soap opera. That's right.
Yeah, then Johnny Depp made a movie about it, and I think
who do we suck in the dark?
Who do we suck in the dark?
Oh my god, that'd be a great title for a vampire movie. I love that.
Yeah, I think so.
They suck in the dark. That's also what they say about us when the Zoom goes down.
What? When the Zoom goes down? What?
That's right. That's what they said about us. We suck in the dark too.
Oh.
So Jason, tell us about your podcast.
It's called Hi, I'm Jason because
well,
I
wonder what's coming after this.
Because I'm Jason. Because
I am Jason.
I heard your name and I thought that's a creative name. But I was talking to some other comedians. I said, I'm going to start a podcast. It's 2020. I need to stay active, and because we're in the pandemic, and not just because it was 2020. It just happened to be 2020. But when this pandemic was going on, I don't know if you heard about that.
Yeah, there was a rumor about a pandemic.
Yeah.
We're still kind of waiting for it to happen.
Yeah, there's a vaccine, but I know people don't care about that.
Well, yeah,
that's a whole other story.
They got rid of smallpox a while ago with that vaccine, I believe.
Yeah, well, Jonas Salk will be turning over in his grave right now. He'd say for shame.
And that's a different vaccine. If Jonas Salk is actually turning over his grave, we need a different vaccine.
Oh yeah, that's true. You make a valid point there. All right, I'm getting off topic.
That never happens here, so we need to stay focused to whatever it is our topic. You're our topic. What are we talking about?
I know, but it's part of my neuroses. Like, why am I talking about myself? Nobody goes. This is why I called it Hi, I'm Jason. I was talking to people, and I said, what should I call it? Why should anybody care about what I have to say? Why should they care about my opinion? And I'm listening to other people's podcasts and thought, why am I caring about their opinion? And somebody says, call it Hi, I'm Jason. That way they know who you are. And I thought, I'm going to go with it. I ran it by, I'm name dropping, Judah Friedlander from 30 Rock. And he said, dude, that's a great name. Go with it. So there's my vindication. So we did that, and we were talking to people we just found entertaining from all aspects of the entertainment industry. Uh-oh.
What's wrong?
Oh, I thought I lost you. My screen went weird.
Oh, yeah. That's just me.
Yeah, he just looks that way. That's not your screen.
Yeah.
All right, there I am. I'm back.
Can't control it.
Right,
yeah, I see you too. It's a good thing you're here.
Oh, thanks.
I think it's great that you call it Hi, I'm Jason, and then you say with Jason as part of the whole thing, too.
Oh, you watched some.
Well, I at least watched the very opening visual, which says "Hi, I'm Jason" with Jason.
I have a co-host who is 10 times more talented than I'll ever be. He's an opera singer, funny, but he's not a comedian, and he fronts a Queen tribute band doing the Freddie Mercury voice. He's really a nice guy.
Well, I'm glad he's doing Freddie Mercury's voice as opposed to like Peter Falk.
That would be a hilarious Queen tribute band. That could be your sponsor next week. The
Queen
Colombo
tribute band.
Queen.
Just one more thing
Peter
called
Falk.
love. Would be their cover.
Colombo.
Just one more thing called love. That's genius. Just one more thing.
They have to get you. There's an audience for that, and they'd have to remember Colombo real well.
Right.
One of my favorite guests we've had on is Ginger Lynn, the former. Oh no, I don't know if she's former. The adult film star. And she does an OnlyFans
Ginger
now.
Lynn. Wow, that's like, and I have to give up part of
She's-
my secrecy, but she was one of the ones that I had a crush on back in the day.
See how vulnerable
Ginger.
you've just become. You've
I
let it
have.
out.
I feel
Oh.
vulnerable.
Brendan and
What is-
Greg are acting like they don't know who she is.
I don't.
But-
I don't.
You might have seen her in The Devil's Rejects if you saw that Rob Zombie film.
She was in that. I didn't even
okay.
know that.
She
But that's
was-
like
she
about
was
10
riding-
years past her heyday,
the
too.
poor
so.
the poor woman had to ride Sid Haig in her dream sequence.
Oh,
I forgot that scene.
Who is Sid
But I
Haig?
grew up watching Ginger Lynn. I mean, she was the
Well,
one. She was in every
she got
porn.
us through that crucial time in our childhood.
Yeah, when you had to let it go. A lot.
Let it go.
You let it go shortly after watching Ginger Lynn. You let it all go.
So you started your podcast after the pandemic started or before the pandemic?
Yeah,
started?
after in July of
Okay.
2020,
Got it.
and I just had some comedians on, and I thought let's talk to more people we find interesting. So we reached out and just asked people. One of them was this New York Times best-selling author Jennifer Keisha Armstrong, who just put out a new book called When Women Invented Television, and I just started loving this. Then I wanted to veer away from comedians because that was really entertaining, and I wanted to tone it down to the NPR style,
Oh,
which wasn't
So
as
then
much
you got
fun to
Ginger
everybody.
Lynn on. Then you got Ginger Lynn on to be more like
And we got
NPR.
Ginger Lynn, and we had Larry Hankin. Didn't you have Larry Hankin?
yeah.
he was our first official guest.
that was
what a
the
great guest.
podcast.
I mean,
I
we
watched
had a
part of
guest
that
prior
one.
to him, but he was our first official one using like a publicist to have one.
Yeah, that was the one I
Oh,
was
that's
watch.
cool.
I watched a little bit of that episode of yours, Jason, with Hankin.
Oh, cool. He was such a great storyteller.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
he's really
Like,
funny.
Oh my God.
Did
and
he
his
tell you
Larry-
the shrimp on the pocket story?
No, he said he didn't even get to nearly the stories he has. He could take up hours.
I'm just happy that
Good.
everybody we've asked who's been on our show, who's had him on, none of them have gotten that story out of him except for us. So we're like, we keep having that as our claim to fame for at least.
So
Well,
we're
I'm gonna
getting-
have to watch
we
the
ask the hard
episode.
questions here.
That's
Every
great.
guest we say, have you ever had eaten shrimp out of someone's pocket? We're not afraid to ask those questions.
No,
What-
the hard hitting
was that-
questions.
Was that on a film set? Did he do that?
No, this is how he survived living in New York. Was his roommate was Carl Gottlieb, the guy who wrote screenplay for Jaws, right?
Wow.
And so that's how they connected to their publicist, is because of Gottlieb. Anyway, and so Gottlieb had a job as like a film reviewer, and Hankin didn't have a job at the time, and so Gottlieb would go to these film reviews, film openings, premieres, and would bring shrimp home for Larry wrapped up in a napkin in his suit. And so, like 3 or 4 nights a week, Larry would be eating shrimp that Carl brought home with him in his pockets. And eventually, Carl got tired of it
Great.
because all of his clothes smelled like shrimp. But
Yeah, you'd attract some cats and dogs.
but there's
on your
more
way
to
home.
it. Yeah, there's more to it. You should still watch the episode that we had it
I'm
on.
going to.
Since I just
That
gave it
sounds
all
great.
away.
Yeah, but he
No.
had a million other good stories on there. There was the one
Yeah.
about the van that he lived in that was a
Oh yeah.
submarine, and then anyway, he's got all kinds of.
He's
amazing
like a
stories. That
real
guy's
life
great.
Kramer.
Yeah.
Yeah, since he played him
I
on
know.
Seinfeld. So that,
Yeah,
that
yes,
makes
that's
it
right.
convenient.
He was talking about being directed by Larry David, and it was so like. Did he tell you that story?
No, we didn't
No.
get into
No.
that. We kind of stayed a little bit away from the general Hollywood stories. We dealt more
Oh.
with like his life, I suppose, a little bit more.
Yeah, growing up, how did he get where he was?
I guess
When
he's
he was a
telling different stories.
pyromaniac as a kid, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, he burnt
Oh,
down a
wow.
barn.
You talked about his personal life.
Yes. Yeah.
I'd
Well,
like
a
to
little
hear the
bit.
Larry
probably-
David story, though, if you
Well,
don't mind.
Yeah,
well, you
now
know,
you're making
we
me
should be
remember.
talking about Jason, not about some
You're right.
guest that he'll
Okay,
have.
You know
all
what,
right.
Greg?
I'll
if
send you,
watch,
a clip of that.
I was going to say, if you watch Jason's podcast or listen
Yeah.
to it,
I will
Right.
do
It's
that.
right
yes.
on there.
I clipped that one. Yeah.
Okay.
So, Jason,
Oh,
were you
well,
raised
my-
by wolves personally, or how did you grow up?
I mean, if you talk about Jewish men, yes.
Were you raised by wolves?
Well, Harry. You don't want to see me with the shirt. I actually say I shave the chest. I do.
Well, that's nice.
My wife is kind enough to do things for me that other women won't. So the least I can do is not be so hairy and sweat on her.
That's nice.
Did
That's the sign of a true Renaissance person, is that they
Thank
go,
you so much.
they don't sweat on their spouses.
well, I don't know how women put up with us. I really don't. And
I don't
anything
either.
I can do to make that easier for them, I try.
Really, the same way we put up with
my
them.
wife is absolutely beautiful. I don't know how I did it. Like, I mean, she's got low self-esteem. That's what I figured out. I mean, it's not that
Well,
I
there
have a
you
big
go.
cock or money.
Those are the best ones. If you can find those are keepers.
And so, and $5 is $5.
I figured
One of my
every woman
favorite-
who's ever dated me. That's why I always figure, yeah, they must have issues. That's the only reason they would have dated me in the first place.
You guys are kind of remind me of the riff tracks people. I could
The
see
who?
you riffing the Mystery Science Theater crowd.
Oh, got it.
I have to admit that is a horrible, terrible thing that I have. In fact, we've been watching, if you remember the show V back from the 80s.
V.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a science fiction thing.
Robert Englund, Mark Singer.
Yeah. And we've been watching that because my wife was a big fan back then and she hadn't seen it since. We got it on Amazon. We started watching it and I'm watching it with my kids and her. And that is so riff trackable. It's comic gold just watching
Oh,
that thing.
I need to see that. Yeah, that's great.
Well,
and-
are you watching the remake too, Brendan, or just the old
we
one?
just started with the original. I mean, this was an epic sort of thing. It was like 6 movies, basically. Each episode was like an hour and a half long. And I watched the first one with the wife and kids. They watched the second one when I was out somewhere. But anyway, it's very fun. And I love doing that. I have to apologize to my wife because I'm sorry. I mean, because I can't help myself.
So Riff
I always thought it
Track
was so funny.
Is Riff Track like a TV show or something, or what is
Riff
that?
Tracks is a Mystery Science Theater spin-off with some of the other
Right.
writers from that show.
Oh, okay. So are they still doing the thing in space, or is it just like they went?
No, it's just now they're just showing a bad movie and riffing on it.
Oh,
But
yeah,
not the
okay.
space. One of my favorite things to do is actually act in bad movies, and it's because those are the most fun film sets I've ever got to be on. And I've never anything I've done that saw the light of day is so embarrassing I can't promote it. But
Come on.
anything I've done that I'm proud of has never seen the light of day and made it. I've got one short film I did on YouTube called The Farm, which is a short indie film they're going to submit to festivals. But I guess because he knew me, he decided to get lazy, not submit it to anything. But people have seen it and said, wow.
He
this is
said, "I
really
want
good."
that work ethic. I'm not going to promote this."
Right. I don't understand. If I'm involved, it's going to be either shit or the director, a filmmaker will have a nervous breakdown and not do anything with the movie.
Well, it could be
With-
worse. It
but,
could be like murders involved.
You could end up like Brandon Lee.
That's true. That's true.
Like
At least
Brenda Lee.
there was no.
Brandon Lee from
Oh,
The Crow.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I don't want to be.
I
in
thought you were
another
talking about the
movie.
short sixth singer from the.
He's
60s.
thinking Brandon Lee because we look very similar.
True.
Yeah.
I think you
yeah.
look
Now
like
that you mention it,
Bruce
it's-
Lee's kids.
I didn't
Well,
want to bring it up.
kidding
I
me.
was thinking.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I just gotta wait. How far into this? Yep. 20 minutes and they noticed.
They took
I
I
a
wouldn't
minute,
want to
but
meet you in
Brandon
a
Lee
dark alley,
connection.
man. You
I
look
can
like
see
you
you.
kick my ass.
Your full
Especially with
athleticism
Roddy
on
Piper.
display, Jason.
I just did a film that it's straight to DVD. Surprising. It's called Giftwrapped and Gutted, where I played a killer Santa Claus. But it was one of the favorite things I've ever done because it was so bad. It was me and a bunch of scantily clad women, and 2 of them played twin sisters. That one of them got to kill me in the end, but it was just I had to carry them over my shoulder and throw them on the bed and cut their clothes off. It was a painful shoot. I told my wife about it. She said, as long as you're getting paid, it's fine.
right.
So
Like a whore.
like a whore. Yeah, damn it.
Why sugarcoat
This
it,
is how I
Greg?
provide for the family by cutting the clothes off the movies.
Don't argue with my work.
But I had a weird experience in that film because one of the screen queens involved. There was a scene where and I had a problem with it. There's a scene where I had to knock her out and then rape her unconscious body. And I said, is that necessary? I don't really want to do that because I really don't think I'd feel comfortable promoting it to anybody I know personally. And the director said, we talked to the writer. We don't have to do the rape scene. And then the actress said, oh, yeah, I think you should totally rape me. What? He's like, it would add so much creepiness to your character. I just got to live in this moment for a minute. I'm not going to do it. But
it's a woman asking me to rape.
But she just said, right? Wait, hold on. Could you say that again in this recording device? I'm going to play it over and over and over again.
I've been hashtag me too'd. I've been me too'd on a movie.
I've been me too'd.
Even Ginger Lynn
into a
never
whole
said
thing.
Ginger Lynn was talking about, I mean, she's very open about her honest fetishes that she's into. And I couldn't relate, but I guess when you've been involved that long, you're going to get turned on by some weird things.
And normal sex is just going to be boring after a while. You're going to need to.
She likes to go in the tub and have her fiance or boyfriend pee on her below the mouth. She specified below the mouth.
She's got some level. She's got some.
She's got some
criteria.
Some form. Yeah, I mean, you got to be respectable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instructional videos will be forthcoming.
Keep it classy.
above the. I mean, come on now.
Yeah,
we're not animals here.
That's right. You can't hit her in the eye.
I've never been into the bathroom.
Why my ear?
Never been into the bathroom thing. I'm sorry.
I mean, isn't it like conditioner as well? I mean, what is she trying to get away from? I don't understand. It's like an astringent.
I did hear it's good for getting rid of a planter's wart. I said, there's no place I'm going to pee on my foot, though.
I think it's a good way to get rid of like people knocking at your door, too.
No, a jellyfish bite, too, right?
Right. There's
jellyfish bite. Yeah, jellyfish
There's
bite.
a trope here in Florida where that's what you're supposed to do if you get hit by a stingray or a jellyfish. Totally untrue. Just Florida people getting a chance to pee on people that, tourists are like, oh, did you get bit by a jellyfish? Yeah. Oh, well, this is what we do in Florida.
Have you witnessed this?
No.
In a Florida beach, I wouldn't be surprised.
You're not supposed to admit it.
On her.
You're not supposed to admit it if you're the one doing it. So yeah, he hasn't witnessed it.
Oh, you got stung by a bee? Urine's the best thing for that. Let me pee on you if a bee stung you.
Yeah.
Or at least let your dog pee on him.
I had to tell all my kids early on, if you're at the beach and something happens, don't let anyone pee on you. Golden rule. Golden rule, golden shower.
Golden shower rule.
Golden shower, the golden rule.
So, Jason, we're getting up to the point of bringing in our client, but prior to that, what specifically do you want to promote or talk about that we didn't get a chance to since we've been yammering at you ever since you joined us?
Well, I'd love to promote the show. We do it. We're not doing it this week because it's Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So this week we're showing a rebroadcast of Dead Air. So it's going to be live. It's going to be live.
Everybody watch
week.
Nothing again.
We have a woman coming on. I have to confirm, but
that she's a woman.
She's a woman. This one is totally the opposite of Ginger Lynn. She's a professor of astronomy at an institute in Hawaii.
You think
I saw her
she's
do a
the
TED
opposite?
Talk.
You should ask her.
That's true. Just because she likes astronomy doesn't mean she's not a perv.
Right.
But,
and it's almost a guarantee that she is.
God, I hope she's not watching.
She doesn't know about our show.
I saw her do a TED Talk about this thing that came blasting into our universe from another galaxy, and it's some kind of comet. It's zipping around, and it's massive, and it was so fascinating the way she described this. I said, I'm tired of people from the entertainment world. I want to get really interesting people like this, or someone like the Appalachian Trail. People who've had real life adventures or can tell me if we're going to be obliterated by a comet. I want to talk to these people now since we have a forum. So she's coming on next week.
That's cool.
We'll find out her fetishes, what makes her tick.
Astronomy.
You should combine the two. Yeah.
She might be into black holes.
Right.
And
we know what that means. More astronomy. That's what it means. But
yeah,
you could combine them. You could combine people with the serious topics and then ask them the question, and what's your sexual fetish?
Is it
just to
is
switch
it
things up a
above
little bit.
is it above the neck or below the neck in terms of all that?
So they can talk about the folding of the space-time continuum, and then you go, and what do you think about hamsters?
You guys are hilarious. I want to come back and just watch the show.
Well,
You can stay for the next half
luckily,
hour.
because of something called the internet, there is that possibility to
Yes, I'm going to
see
watch your past
things.
episodes. I feel like I barely talked about myself because I'm so interested in you three.
That's sad. That's very
Jason,
sad.
can you stick around for half an hour? You get to have
I
a
would
little
be
bit more.
delighted to. I've
You
always
you-
wanted to be a lawyer.
You want to help us with our client? All right, well,
Yeah.
let's move right into our client. So our client for today is Henry Ford is no Thomas Edison, and Elon Musk is a punk. So why? Just because. So I didn't realize that Henry Ford actually worked for Thomas Edison at one point. He was like one of his engineers back in the late 1800s. And then they became good friends. And I was watching a couple of documentaries today that I got a good nap in. That I think I retained some of the information. One of the things Edison was doing just prior to dying was he was trying to find a new form of rubber to help out Henry Ford. As opposed to growing rubber plants, he was trying to find it from other plants.
Rubber isn't prophylactic, or
For tires, for car tires.
How
That's
many
what I meant.
rubbers
That's what
did
I
he
meant.
need? I mean,
Well, at one point, Henry Ford had bought a number of thousands of acres of Amazonian rainforest and allegedly was going to be building a rubber plantation, but then he wound up wanting to create his own utopia that at
he
some
was
point
going to start a cult. I knew that's where it's
That
going.
was
Let's
something
talk
that
about
was-
how Ford was an asshole. Just
it was
for a
called
second.
Fordlandia.
Of course, Fordlandia.
How
And
great is that?
I'm not making it up.
I'm
Not
sure.
oh,
Ford
you
you're not.
really wanted to? You were not making this up?
I'm not making it up. No. That was like one piece of information I got from one of these documentaries. So, yeah, I thought that was quite fascinating. But, you know, the thing that makes Henry Ford no Thomas Edison is the fact that Henry Ford really didn't invent anything. He was
He was
an
efficient.
innovator. He was an innovator.
Did he butt
used
heads with
existing
Edison?
What's that?
Did he butt heads with Edison like
I don't think
everybody
so.
else did?
No, I think they were
No.
friends. They were friends.
They were
Those two.
both very greedy men, but the thing that the difference is Henry Ford was a rabid anti-Semite who loved Hitler, and he even published his own newspaper for because he had those towns. He never made Fordlandia, but he had Fordvilles basically, the company towns. The guys who worked in his factories, there would be these towns. They were all the workers. There'd be stores there, company almost like the company store. But he published his own newspaper. I think it was called like the Dearborn Register or something, and it was like lots of anti-Semitic, like reprints of the Protocols of the Elders of Zion, all that shit. And he
Wow.
was horrible. He was a
This just turned into a different show altogether.
yeah, but that's what Henry Ford.
Wow.
Why do you-
Ford,
Why do you
Well,
know
thank
this
you,
about Henry
Ford
Ford,
and
Greg?
Edison were awful people.
they were awful people. I
But
mean,
think
thank
Henry
you, Greg,
Ford was
for
worse.
having done obviously the legal legwork on Henry Ford. I just knew he was a jackass, and that was about the
Yeah.
extent of my background on it.
Yeah,
And
who's
Thomas
worse,
Edison,
Henry Ford or Thomas Edison?
I think Henry
As
Ford.
far as
I'm going to go with Ford.
Edison was just very greedy, and like he would, anyone who had the film equipment that he said he like owned the rights, he would like send goons to beat the shit out of him. But like Henry Ford was a virulent, hate monger. He was a crazy, and he was greedy as fuck too. And
I think Thomas Edison just had too much time to do everything because he never got any sleep. He was just taking cat naps and
he
spending
had
all
the
the
time to be racist.
Yeah, I don't know if he was even thinking about being greedy. He was just so interested in creating things. When I was talking
That
about
could
the
be true.
rubber experiment, what he was doing is he was taking every plant and every leaf from every plant and every root from every plant that was like on his property and figuring out how he could extract rubber from all of those things. And he eventually landed on the plant goldenrod as a way to start developing rubber. And that I think he died.
is that where rubber comes from? Goldenrod?
No, it actually comes from rubber tree plants. But apparently you can get. I did not know that you could get rubber from other things besides rubber tree
Yeah.
plants. So
I never knew about the rubber tree.
it makes
I
me
knew
wonder
rubber
what
tree
rubber
plants from the
actually
song.
is. Honestly, I don't know.
Right. I was going to say, what makes that little old ant?
Yeah, there goes another rubber tree plant. I
There
get it.
goes
Hi.
another.
Obviously,
high hopes.
Henry Ford and Edison were both little ants, and they walked off with those rubber tree plants, and
They had high
ergo
hopes.
the song.
and they realized.
I mean, obviously, both of those people were very cutthroat capitalists. Whether one was some sort of utopian anti-Semite Nazi world builder, the other was just fucking every other creative person out of his ideas and patents. I mean, they both were really despicable people. So why is Elon Musk a punk?
Well, what has Musk done compared to Ford? Compared to Ford and
he
Edison,
ruined my Dogecoin investment. That's what he did.
he fucked up cryptocurrency. Well, he was a major engineer behind PayPal.
Okay.
I like PayPal.
PayPal's revolutionized the way people take money and still does.
So he was like a software guy.
He was a software guy.
Okay.
He built rockets and is now,
is he personally building the rocket, or is he like hiring people to build the rocket?
Well, that's like his personally in his backyard. Yes.
It
no,
is
but of course. I mean,
he might have been.
I got to admit, when you first said Elon, I thought you said Elon Musk as a punk, and I was picturing Elon Musk dressed as Sid Vicious. I wanted to know where you're going with that, but it is a punk. Okay.
Well, I think that might work better.
See Elon Musk. I think Elon would definitely be in Musk. I think I could see him there.
You could see Elon Musk in a mush pit.
Mosh pit.
Mush pit.
You know what a mosh pit is, right? Mush pit.
Well, no, I just didn't hear you because you broke up a little bit.
But in the field of accumulating mass amounts of wealth, even considering it inflation, Elon Musk is not a punk. He's made, even considering inflation, he's made 30 times more than Edison and Ford combined. I mean, he's not a punk in that field.
Did he deserve to host SNL?
I don't know. I don't know about that. But Donald Trump did at one time, so I guess the bar's pretty low now.
Good point.
I thought his SNL, I don't know what the idea was behind it, but it was super cringy. Every skit he did was just, it was like some writer was like, okay, how do we fit Elon Musk into this? And they just kind of had to reverse engineer anything they were doing to kind of a place to be. I don't know why he would do that other than he's got all this money. Why not?
So, I mean, the basic casting for the host of Saturday Night Live, I guess, it just has to do with ratings, right? As opposed to some kind of comedic talent.
Look, I'll be honest, even as a comic, I haven't watched a full episode of SNL since the 90s.
Yeah, me neither.
I only watch whatever the clips are on YouTube, and I don't even watch most of those all the way.
I generally just watch the news desk segments. Exactly. I like the two guys on the news desk right now. Colin Jost and Michael Che. Michael Che cracks me up.
Yeah, he's funny.
But
it sounds like that
Michael Che has I didn't realize how funny he was. A special on Netflix. He's really actually quite funny, beyond just his bit on Saturday Night Live.
I haven't seen that yet. Is that good? That's Michael Che's special.
It was, I went in not with low expectations. Let me put it that way, and I was impressed. I thought
he has like a little show of his own on HBO Max right now too, which is called Damn That Michael Che. And he does like some brief interviews and as well as comedic skits as well on it. And
that's a better title than I Am Jason, actually. No offense, Jason.
Wait a second, Greg.
Now,
the other guy, I'll admit it.
The other guy, Joe's, I think, was built in a laboratory. There isn't a more whiter person on the planet than that guy.
I know. And after marrying Scarlett Johansson, that makes him ultra white.
He's married to Scarlett Johansson?
Yeah.
Damn it, I thought there was hope.
No, I know. Well, took all our hopes and dreams away. That
it's Hollywood.
Really
they could always break
guy.
Up. Yeah. Well, listen, if that guy from Staten Island could date Ariana Grande, I mean, there's hope for anybody. Pete Davidson.
Pete.
I never liked him.
I'm
the movie The King of Staten Island.
Funny at all.
He was perfect for The King of Staten Island. That movie was I thought it was really well done.
I thought it was the story of his life, wasn't it?
If I could date any woman, there's hope for anyone. I figure.
I haven't seen the movie. He's never been funny. I've never seen a thing he's funny on or in. So he must be packing a 14-inch long. That's the only thing I can figure.
Oh, he is.
Oh, he is.
Jason.
Let me tell you.
The
Jason
voice
knows.
Jason
He
is
was
the voice
talking
of
to
Pete
that
Davidson's
porn star, and she
schlong.
knew.
Dish girlfriend, dish.
Dish
Who-
girlfriend. I
Um,
saw in one of your clips, Jason, that said that you have gay Tourette's.
You saw a clip that I was trying to get off YouTube, but it's on under an old thing.
I was like,
Yeah, I used to get accused of being gay. Not that it's a bad thing. My mom's worked in salons my whole life. So I was just raised. A lot of gay men rubbed off on me growing up. Their personalities.
I don't know that that was the right turn of phrase right
Might
there.
not have been the right term, but hey, we're
Yeah.
better than that now.
Okay.
it's back in the day. So
No,
where
we're
did the
not.
gay
We're not.
Tourette's come from then?
Because I just kind of slip into it. I'd like saying my hand will be on my hip. I got very effeminate mannerisms.
Oh, okay.
That's an old joke I don't do anymore. But
Yeah, I can
those
see
are
why.
old clips.
Because these
Yeah,
days
that was when I was first starting out.
you get Me Too'd or something for something like that, or whatever the slang is.
I don't know if that's so much Me Too as in just
Canceled.
Forwarding
Canceled,
old yeah, you get
canceled, yeah.
canceled. That's what it is. I get confused with the terminology these days. I don't know what the bad things that will be done to us for saying certain things.
yeah. When you first start doing stand up, you write I guess worse jokes and you grow. And I want to. That's why I really don't put my stand up on YouTube because of that reason. I want it to be surprised because I've grown. I don't put old stand up on YouTube or new ones for the reason of I just want it to be fresh when people see it live. I want them to be like surprised,
Yeah.
wanna have
They're
some
like,
extra
oh, I heard
credit.
that joke
Unless-
on YouTube.
Yeah, I think that every other comedian in the world probably feels the same way, and they're all out of luck like you are, in terms of what's been put on the YouTube and what you can do about it.
Yeah. I'm sorry you had to witness that.
I just got the concept of gay Tourette's in my head, and I realized I needed to talk to you about it.
Oh my God! Let me suck it. That's what I'm thinking now with gay Tourette's. It was a terrible joke, and
Somebody at a candy factory.
No, I don't think it's that bad.
It
I
made
think
me
it's actually
laugh.
pretty funny.
If it makes me
Thank you.
laugh, it's good. That's my motto.
yeah, no.
Because-
When
I mean,
I
you
was
could have
doing,
done a whole bunch of stereotypes with that one, though. You could have gone off like, "Let me adjust your hair. Let me wear drag," or something along those lines, where you.
There's
just
so
forward
much
those
more I could have done with
stereotypes.
that. You're right.
Yeah.
I was still new, and I came up with that on the spot at one show. And my hand was on my hip, and I said, "Look at this. I've got gay Tourette's." And either I'm gay or I'm a superhero. But
Man,
Or
nobody
both.
likes a Monday morning quarterback.
what is that?
It's
He would,
a,
Greg. He
guy,
would know he's got gay Tourette's. He doesn't know what that means.
Yeah, I don't even watch sports, but it's the guy, on Monday morning at work. He's just like, "Oh, I can't believe that fucking quarterback." Like, he doesn't even play football, and he's like, saying, "Oh, you should have done this.
Okay.
You should have done that."
I like how you've come
It's
up
like
with
a
a whole
nice-
persona of this guy who's the Monday morning quarterback.
Yeah,
Like, he does,
he's
you know
silly.
that he doesn't play sports, but he's talking about it.
Yeah, don't get me wrong.
How many teeth does this guy have, Greg? I'm just curious, like the full description of the guy.
I'm gonna
He's
have you
got-
canceled. This is a stereotype that you're perpetuating, that people that like football are somehow ignorant cavemen or something and walk
Greg,
around
do you
and
know what
talk like this.
Greg, do you know what an actual quarterback is?
Yeah.
What's a quarterback, Greg?
Well, it's different than a nickelback. It's a quarterback. Quarterback is he's like the sergeant of the football team.
Wow, we're just mixing all
like
the
Sergeant
metaphors.
Rock.
I would love it. I think if you guys did a special show on an off night, show a
all
sporting
special.
event and do commentary for your sporting
Oh,
event.
I want
Watch
to
a
do
football
sports
game.
because Brendan likes sports and we hate him, and we always get in this
I,
conversation.
as I've said many times, Greg, I don't hate sports.
You hate watching sports.
I just don't watch sports. Yeah, I don't hate sports.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
don't like it though.
with the exception of Brendan, nothing personal. You guys don't remind me of sports people. Brendan, I could see into as a boxing fanatic.
Because of the
I-
hat.
I like boxing, but I'm mostly a football guy. Football
he's
and
Irish.
hockey.
Okay,
Honestly, I'd
Yeah.
rather watch boxing than football. So that's me.
I was huge into pro wrestling.
I like a good boxing match.
Yeah, I
Pro
like pro
wrestling.
wrestling because the soap opera-ness of it. I like
Yeah,
the talks in between the fights more than
Oh,
the fights.
Roddy Piper was a hero. He was
Oh.
so good.
Roddy
He was
Piper's.
local. He lived near me and Greg, actually.
Was he from Portland?
Wow.
He lived like in Hillsboro, which is about 5 miles
It's
outside
like a
of
suburb.
Portland. Yeah.
I used to have Rascals, my comedy club in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, and this guy comes in and said, "I represent Roddy Piper. We're staying here at the hotel. Would you?" He started to do some stand up. Would you mind if you did some time on your stage? Yes, I was so excited. And he comes in, and he does 20 minutes of 2 stories that were just so. There's a reason he didn't do stand up. He never really succeeded at stand up. But he gets up, this next comic that came up after him, this guy Kurt Metzger comes up, and he said, "I can't believe Piper was here. I used to watch him growing up. He came here to chew gum and tell jokes, and he was all out of jokes." And then Piper rushed the stage with a chair. It was just a beautiful moment.
Oh, that's funny.
And
Kurt
that's why
Metzger,
Elon Musk
why do
is
I
a
know
punk.
that name?
He's a pretty well-known comedian.
I think I've seen.
Well,
Yeah.
you could be confusing it with the guy who does our intro. His name is Colin Metzger.
No.
Okay.
I think it's Kurt Metzger, and I think
You
he
might have
does.
seen him. He's a lot more famous than me.
Yeah, I think he does something out in L.A. I think he's got a podcast.
Yes.
He does a YouTube channel with another guy, Kyle Dunnigan. Am I getting that right?
I think you're right.
Yeah.
He's big in the American Nazi Party, Metzger.
You guys, remember
God.
when I sent you the bit? I know I said this to you, where it was the 2 guys that were like the really super politically correct guys, and it was like called Pussies or something, and they were reviewing some show.
Oh yeah. That's what
Kurt
you're talking about?
Kurt Metzger was one of those 2 guys. Those are
Oh,
the 2
that was
guys, and Kurt
hilarious.
Metzger was one of those.
And
Yeah.
he's such a good writer. He really is a funny writer.
Oh,
Yeah.
he was so. If you haven't seen it, check it out on YouTube. And they do this thing, and I forget. They do this like fake podcast where they're like these super effeminate guys, and they get, they're like triggered by everything, and they're always trying to do better. And he is so funny on that bit. It is.
Do you
great.
think
I
they
wish
were
did more of
drinking
those.
our sponsor Huzzah? Was that what they were imbibing?
They may have been drinking Huzzah. I'm not sure.
Oh my God. I gotta make you guys cans of soda that say Huzzah on them. So you could
What
do
kind of
giveaways at your live shows.
an
I was
actual
reading some
product?
of your reviews on your website.
Those,
Are these
aren't
real?
those fascinating?
No, they're bots.
2 of them are real.
One of them asked
two
me
of
to
them
come
are
out
real.
to Jersey. I mean, I was like, oh, maybe they're touring.
Yes, we're touring via Zoom.
As soon as the pandemic is over, we're heading up to Jersey.
As soon as the pandemic's
Why
over, we're
not?
just gonna keep doing
That's where
this.
everybody's migrating to. Well, the best thing about Jersey is when it comes to natural disasters, we're minimal, as opposed to Tornado Alley or wildfires or earthquakes or
Hurricanes. We had all that going on a couple weeks ago.
Oh yeah. Oh, you're in Florida.
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah.
aren't we supposed to be in a trial right now?
Well, we're supposed to be representing our client, but it happens. Often our client
Yeah.
doesn't get
Oh,
the
we've
full
got lost
attention.
track of the client. Anyway,
Especially
It was
when they're
Henry
really
Ford,
Elon
Thomas
Musk is a
Edison,
good guy,
Elon
and
Musk
two are
all
complete
together
scumbags.
become members of the show Pussies.
Yeah. When the
Yes.
client is very boring, we just veer off into tangents.
Or if none of us really delved into why we were talking about it to begin with, that's often
Yeah.
how we went up on tangents because we don't know why we're talking about
Exactly.
the client. Other than the client decided to hire us for that day, and so we try to do it justice, but generally don't.
Did you have any clients? I mean, okay, you had Elon Musk, who is likable to an extent,
He's a punk.
but Thomas Edison and Henry Ford were kind of jerks. Did you have any who are like good people, or are they like?
Well, it's rare that we actually have humans associated as the clients. Normally, it's just a topic of discussion for the day.
Oh,
So,
oh,
what was our client last week, guys? Oh, it was a plague of ideas. That was our client last week, because we had a comedy writer on last week.
was it John Vorhaus?
It was John Forhouse.
Yes.
And I got
He
to
was fascinating. I
I
got
got
so
to-
many great reviews about his show.
tell a bad joke using his last name, and so that's what I remember of the show with John.
You're not going to share it?
Well, he gave us like a TED talk. That guy.
I don't know if it's
He's
good
enlightening.
that I share the joke again, because
No.
it didn't really land that well the first time. So,
It wasn't a
Oh,
joke.
but
It
it was
was
the
Brendan
it was
said
the
no.
lead up to it that was funnier than the actual joke itself, which is basically me asking him, if he's tall, if he's a tall person. He's like, no, I'm not tall at all. And I'm like, you ever going to do any work in Texas? And he's like, I think there's something going on here. He's like, I don't know what's happening here. I'm like, well, I'm kind of doing a little bit of a setup. I'm like, which is essentially that if you happen to be working in Texas, then you could say you're the best little whorehouse in Texas. So that was.
God, it was so bad. It's made me laugh. They're hating me now because I laughed at that.
Well, plus the fact that people heard this joke last week and were like, "Again, Matt, again."
That's what
Really?
I was thinking.
Blame me. I'll take the brunt of that. Did he have you name a year?
No, I think what happened with John is basically what's happened with you, which is it's just us talking over you and each other.
But it's fun. I mean, I had a great time tonight.
Yeah, no,
I
it's
woke,
great.
I woke up. I woke up from a nap, had some caffeine,
Yeah.
and 5 minutes later, I was on with you guys having a great chat. So it worked. It worked out.
Good. Well, hopefully
Fantastic.
you get something out of being on our show. I don't know what people get out of it. At the very least, at some point, you'll probably get a Quibbly at.
I love that. The Quibbly Awards.
Yes.
The Quibbly
Are
Awards.
you
yes.
familiar
I
with
watch
the
it
Quibbly
every year. I
Awards?
love when Ricky Gervais hosted. He was phenomenal.
We haven't had him on, but we did have Bruce.
He offended some of the
Valanche
guests, though.
I'm up against Bruce Valanche for a Quibbly Award.
on. Well, no, he already got his,
he
so
got
you
it in the
wouldn't.
back.
He
Oh,
would
he's
probably
got it
won't
in
be
the
getting
back.
another one. No, Hankin got one too, and I don't know if are you familiar with a guy named Leland Sklar. He is a bass player that's been on like 25,000 recordings. He got one.
No.
Okay.
And there was this
I don't
girl
know.
that used to like dance with the rat at Studio 54. She got one. I mean, it was a wild show.
Yeah, that was our sole live program was the Quibbly Awards. That was just a few weeks ago. So if you want to
Oh,
track
you
that one
actually
down.
did a live one.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really clever. I
Yeah,
love
we had
it.
about 28 different people we gave awards to. Which is essentially
And Brendan
everybody
was-
who ever was on our show who was willing to come back.
And Brendan did all the ushering for the event. It was really impressive. He ushered in all the people.
He did.
I
He
did.
ushered them. He ushered.
Good
He had the
ushering.
limo service, red carpet limo service.
Well, it was
More than
a
anything,
it was an awards banquet and legal conference. So there wasn't really a red carpet per se. There was more of like a turnstile,
and
a
a
rope.
popcorn cart.
They had to bring their own virtual food to the awards banquet. But yeah,
Well,
it's on YouTube and also on where podcasts are given away.
I gotta tell you, what John Vorhaus did was, and it took over the whole show. He had everybody name a year from from the 60s till today, and people were commenting at the time, or we were throwing it out there, just naming a year, and he told us an inspiring story about what occurred in his life that year, where he was, what he was doing. It was like a party trick, but he was amazing with this.
Wow, that's
How,
cool.
how did that come about?
I said, all right, well, I guess we should start at the beginning. He said, all right, since we haven't figured out where to start, he just jumped right in and said that. And he's like, this is what I like to do. Pick a year. And I said, okay. And he said, I'm going to tell you where I was at that year. And it was so cool. I want to, if I throw a year at you, do you think you'd know where you were?
If you say 1732, I could not answer.
What if I said 1985?
1985, I was my first year in college in Baltimore, outside of Baltimore.
85, I hitchhiked to San Francisco from Bremerton, Washington.
Wow.
Greg, 85.
85. I was graduated high school and I went to Albany, SUNY Albany for one semester.
Well, there we go.
Okay, I gotta say that Brendan wins for the most exciting.
Oh, yeah.
The lucky
He
to be
always
alive.
does.
Brendan
story.
will always win for the most exciting.
Yeah, no, that was an interesting trip. That was I almost got sexually assaulted outside of Crescent City, California, and I had to jump out of a
Nice.
moving truck.
Nice.
Oh shit!
This
by
is
a
a
man.
story we need to explore further in the future, Brendan.
Oh, it was a good time.
Never heard this one before.
Bringing stuff out.
I know.
That's
That's
all
what Jason's all about.
When
Jason-
when Jason said 85, I'm like, oh, that was, if he had said like 82, I would have been struggling. But 85, I'm like, well, that was a year for me.
Was it Large Marge?
Wow.
Trying to sexually assault you?
Large
No,
Marge.
it was a guy in a truck that had a bunch of Soldier of Fortune magazines
Oh,
on the
Of
ground,
course.
and he was very had camis on. He picked me up in Southern Oregon, actually.
Oh, and took you
'Cause I
down to
was
Crescent
just-
City.
Yeah, I was just getting into Crescent City when we had just gotten through Crescent City when I realized something bad was going to happen, and I
He wants more from you than just your companionship.
I'm glad
Yeah.
you were able to jump out of that truck.
Was his name Elon Musk?
I don't think so.
Okay. I just had to get back to our client. All right. Well, that does bring us, unfortunately, to the.
What
the
a
end.
great way to end. Let's end on a positive note.
We're not known for our
Sexual
segues
assault.
or
Oh my
or
god.
how our good closings or openings or anything like this is basically freeform madness, and with a slight conceit of lawyer-esque type stuff that none of us is, equipped to discuss at all.
At least
love
child
it.
rape didn't come back.
What was that, Greg?
At least child rape didn't come back into our
Thanks,
discussion.
Well,
Um,
apparently it
let's hope
has.
never comes back.
Apparently it did just now. Thanks, Greg.
It came
Thanks.
close.
Oh my god.
Thanks,
We
Greg.
came close.
That's right. It was basically Brendan in a truck. So anyway, I want to thank Jason Pollock very much for showing up today to discuss. Not really
Thanks,
sure
Jason.
what we talked about. His podcast. It's called Hi, I'm Jason. So find that wherever you guys listen to podcasts. If people are listening to podcasts, I'm assuming you're listening to this one. Otherwise, I'm talking to myself like I do at home anyway. So please do. If you want to find back episodes of our show, go to www.qsblaw.org. And we also have our YouTube channel. You can also find us on UHive, everybody, and because nobody
is it
goes
called?
to UHive. UHive.com. It's a social networking place for people who are trying to get ripped off about the cryptocurrency. So that's UHive. We have our own NFTs there.
And don't forget to scour YouTube for Jason's old comedy clips about gays.
Oh god.
Guys, for find his gay Tourette's clip, everybody. You get 5 cents.
That's right.
No,
All right, well,
Super
thank
J
you all
Post
again.
711. Oh, sorry.
So please say whatever you
Super
were
J
going to say.
Post 711 on YouTube. That's the YouTube channel.
Wait, say that one more time.
Super J Post 711.
Super J Post, P-O-S-T.
J-Po was a nickname people gave me, Jason Pollock, so they started calling me J-Po.
Oh,
like
Super
J-Lo.
J-Po.
J-Lo.
Yeah, because my sweet ass.
J-Po.
So
This was sweet.
And what were the
ass.
numbers?
711. Apparently, there's already a Super J-Po 71, so they made me add 112.
You had one.
There's actually
Yeah.
710 more of him.
71 was the year I was born.
Oh, that
Fantastic.
explains everything.
My youthful looks. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, the
yes.
useful look. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
And why Brendan is wearing that hat.
It's all part of the Irish persona.
Well, no, I said it.
It's all
explains
part of
everything.
the. It's all
Newsies
part of the
person?
thing. I identify as a hat wearer.
I just realized that Greg and Jason both have the same forehead.
Well, where'd you get yours?
In upstate
Forehead-
New York.
Yeah, foreheads are us, right? In Schenectady.
Oh,
In fact, you should reach out to them to sponsor your show.
that's our next sponsor. Foreheads are us. Let me write that down.
In Schenectady.
Foreheads and
In
more.
Schenectady.
Oh, foreheads and more. That's the new one.
Foreheads
That's
and
great.
Yeah.
Foreheads and more
more.
heads.
It's the big box one that's kind of taken over.
The big box forehead store.
Yeah.
It's big hat boxes.
They treat
Anyway.
their workers like shit, but the prices are great.
All right, I want to thank Jason Pollock. I apologize to Jason
No.
Pollock for coming on our show today.
Thank you so much for having me. I really had a good time. It was
All
really great meeting you all.
It was good to have you.
All right, and we'll see you all. Well, actually, we're not going to see anybody, but we'll hopefully you'll be hearing from us next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Your consultation with the law offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker has ended. You may pay your retainer at www.qsblaw.org. Please exit to the right of the water cooler and grab a candy from the front desk. We hope to see you again soon, but you need to leave now. I said leave. Why don't they ever listen? Get out! Get out!